Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton have won a game of football, beating Fleetwood Town 1-0 in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Yeah, typical, normal fare, wasn't it? Half a team, as always. Nice little mix of squad players, younger players, first team players, and Rondon. But the most important thing is we're in the hat, and that's the most important thing.
The win. Win is a win. We've not won a game yet, so that was why it was important. Done without too much fuss, really. You know, we've had times in games like this where it's looked a bit sketchy, but I don't think really that was the case last night. There had a couple of moments, but we got through, and you know, I think if we'd have had better forwards, we'd have probably won it more comfortably.
A forward.
Sort of forward. No, listen, we've got through, and the manager will have got out of it what he wants, which was minutes for Seamus Coleman, Onana, players like Vinagre, players like that, and obviously we're able to give Reece Welsh his full debut, and also got Stanley Mills and Lewis Warrington off for their debut. So a good night's work, and they're through.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what did you make of the lineup? Obviously Tom Davis got injured in the warm up. That was he would have been the player who sat in front of the defence, and then and then it would have been Onana and Iwobi. But obviously with him getting injured, the shape slightly changed, and we were slightly more attacking in terms of having to play Damari Gray.
Yeah, I mean obviously Damari Gray wasn't in the original lineup, was he? He was open to rest them. Tom Davies had a decent game against Forest, so we would have set up a slightly different way. But yeah, I mean the lineup obviously, like you said, Welsh coming in was good to see him. He had some good moments, some not so good moments, but you'd expect that from a young player. Vinagre over on the left wing back. I thought Patterson had a very good game on the right. Seamus Coleman playing at centre back, which might be where he's looked at. I think if they're going to persist with the 3-5-2 or the 3 at the back, 3-4-3, whatever however you're going to play it, Coleman might be considered for that role as the right centre back, because I think Patterson's done enough so far this season to stay. And I think he's got better every game. He looks so comfortable on that side. A little bit defensively, he's got more work to do. We know that, but the only thing I'd like from Patterson is just get more balls into the box. Makes good runs, links up well, get more balls into the box. And then obviously Onana and Iwobi in the midfield did a good job. And further up we had McNeil and Gray and Rondon. Which, I mean, McNeil was always going to play because he wasn't playing Saturday, and it's the chance for Lampard to get them in. And started off, we were comfortable, we were comfortable on the ball, and it would have just been interesting if Davis would have played to see how high Onana would have gone up the pitch, because him and Iwobi kind of sat in and were trying to one go, you go, I'll stay and stuff. And it did take Onana 15-20 minutes, I thought, to get into the game.
Yeah, I think certainly going forward at the moment, if Onana's going to play, he's going to have to play in the 3, isn't he? Because he's getting used to playing in English football, and I think he got a bit of a lesson last night that there are no easy games.
Yeah.
Certainly, when you come up and you're playing in the Carabao Cup against even a team a couple of divisions below us, there are no easy games. People, they'll compete physically with you if they can't compete the other way, and that'll have been a good game for them to get through. I think Frank Lampard actually said after the game, physically it was very, very tough, but that's a good thing because now he knows what it's all about. And in the Premier League, you're not going to get kicked as much, but you have to be quick. Yeah. I think last night what he learned quickly was you have to be quick because they'll come and just kick you. So so it's going to be a learning curve for him. And it was, as I said, it was interesting because it would have been him and Iwobi ahead of Tom, and it's ended up being Gray, who's obviously an out-and-out attacker. So that obviously changed things down. But
thank God he was in there.
Yeah. Listen, the games like this are always frustrating because changing the personnel, and I used to annoy me when we used to change the personnel. You think, play your strongest team and all that kind of thing. But I think I've just learned to just relax and you can put a team out there, and if it doesn't beat a team like Fleetwood, then that's on them. It's not really on the manager. The manager has to change. Manager needs to see all his options. He needs to give people like Onana a chance, Vinagre a chance. People need to, Seamus Coleman needs to get time. People like Connor Code and Tarkowski need to have a little break. So you're chopping and changing, and maybe you're changing the personnel and the shape at times, but you have to do that, and it's almost like it's like an extension of the pre-season, isn't it, for some of the players who haven't played? Suddenly they get a chance to play in a game which does mean something, and is getting played at a decent physical level rather than a decent football level.
Yeah, like you're saying there, the manager has got to make those changes. Of course, he hasn't. Begovic came in, and you can't sit on the bench all the time and never get a go. You've got to give these people, games to keep them focused and stuff. And it's good to take Pickford out of it and let him have a blow as well. But it is the energy levels, and it's the physical aspects of the game as well, where you're training all the time, but going into games it's totally different. And like you said about Onana, he'll learn a lot from that 90 minutes there. Absolutely, and we saw him getting stronger as the game went on. He had that run near the end when he just glided past players, and they ended up siding them down because he couldn't stop them any other way. Probably have done him the world of good. But people like Seamus Coleman, training, get it in your legs so that if you are called on, you've just played the game, you've got that in you. Everton have got game Saturday, a game Tuesday, then the derby. The games at the moment are thick and fast, aren't they? So you've got to have as many players up to speed. And, we've proven it. We lost Godfrey, Mina, Decore, now Tom, I don't know how long Tom Davies is out for, Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, all before the season started. So in the space of 3 weeks, we've lost 5 players. Yeah.
And these players have to be up to it as well. If you're looking at the bench as well, if you look at the bench late on in games, you need players there that you can rely on, that are ready to go on. It's not just a case of them starting the games. It's, with the 5 sub rule now, some games you're going to have the opposition bringing on 5 subs, and you've got to match that level. The players mightn't be equal to the standard technically. There might be a little bit of a drop off, but physically they've got to be there. So they've got to play the games, haven't they? They've got to be ready to come in and maybe And I think Everton, it was interesting last night. We didn't actually change the back 3, and we spoke about it after the game on Saturday, for the Forest game. Everton have to be ready as well, don't they, to go to a back 4 at times and move 3 into midfield and try and get a control of the game if the game isn't going your way. So there has to be more options for that as well. There has to be, you have to have that ability to do that as well. So the more options, and also someone like, Vinagre playing on there's games where you're looking for a little bit more of an attacking outlet, and that's what we're led to believe that he's a little bit better at. So you have to have that in games. If you want to change it, maybe Michalenko isn't getting as high up the pitch or isn't getting the crosses into the box. If you've got someone that suddenly can, then you've got to be able to prepared to bring those players on. And with that 5 subs rule now, there's no reason why not if they're physically ready.
Yeah, and we saw in the second half, you're talking about going to a back 4. He did do that in the second half, didn't he? Took off Reece Welch, put Tarkowski on, we put Warrington on in midfield, and we went to a 4-2-3-1 and finished the game with that, and actually got control of the game again. So you do have to have that flexibility. The more players are available and ready and fit to drop in, then there won't be that in a game and you see a manager make changes and then all of a sudden everything goes to pot because maybe players aren't fit enough or they're not used to dropping into that system. You have to try to get those scenarios into games as much as possible, so that it is a case of we've gone from 3 to a 4 at the back and everyone knows where to be. And that's what he was looking at last night. I think he will have looked and gone, you lot are good enough to get us through, so just go and get it done. And that's what it was.
And really. we were comfortable, to be fair. It's just again, it's at in the final third, wasn't it?
Cutting edge.
There's no cutting edge. There's obviously the centre forward issue. We know what the issue is there. And we had a couple of chances. Dwight McNeil had a really good opportunity after a decent move.
Superb ball by Onana to Patterson. He does really well and he squared it. No, McNeil, I honestly don't know what he did, because he wasn't even, the goal's here and he ends up facing that way and bobbling it wide, and the look that Patterson gave him was just I don't think Patterson was annoyed. I think he was just disappointed.
Just disappointed, which
That
is
he
all,
should
as
have
we
had.
all know, is worse.
That's worse. But we had other opportunities.
No,
but
well, we got the goal through, you know, say a mistake by their play, but McNeil did all right on the edge of the box. Iwobi found a bit of space and probably had the opportunities to shoot, but laid Gray in, who finished it well. And you know, once that goal went in, they never really were too worried after that. But they had a couple of half chances for half time, after half time, but nothing really too much to write about. And having someone like Michael Keane in the back line, anything that was up in the air, he dealt with it. And then obviously in the late stages, Tarkowski come on and done the same thing. But the problems are the same as what they were on Saturday, aren't they? That's the problem. You know, Everton have no centre forward. It's as simple as that. We have someone up there trying to be a centre forward, who used to be a centre forward, and he does show you what the shape needs to be. But without a proper centre forward, Everton are gonna, you know, if something doesn't change, Everton are gonna really, really struggle in the next, you know, till Dominic Calvert-Lewin's back, and even maybe, and probably after that, as he finds his feet. And you know, it's just, you know, this last weekend, you know, Everton have to find something, don't they? They have to pull something out the app, because this can't go on. This can't go on to, I mean, it probably will go on to Brentford, but, you know, then the Leeds game, and then the Derby, and then the Arsenal game. You know, you're looking at, you say those games, and you're thinking, it's fine having all nice little passing and people making nice runs and all the rest of it, but if there isn't a focal point, if there isn't someone putting the ball in the back of the net, you know, that's the difference, isn't it? That's the difference between a decent season and a scary season.
I mean, 3 out the next 4 are away, and they're all tough games, and you know, they'd be tough games even with a centre forward. You've got to have people at the top end of the pitch to put the ball in the back of the net. As simple as that. And Everton don't just need one; they need 2. You know, you know, Anthony Gordon is going to go, and he was an unused sub last night. If he is going to go, then you know, you're going to need another winger. Maybe we need to put some goals in this team. There's no goals in the team. You know, Damari Gray is the only one really who you look at and go, you know, he got half a dozen last season. He got 2 already this season. You know, he might end up, hopefully he'll end up with double figures. But you know, he started out the traps quickly last season, and then it dried up. But he's the only one you look at the moment with any kind of confidence. Go, well, I hope he gets the ball, because even when Anthony Gordon plays, he's not a big goal scorer at all. Rondon doesn't score goals. Midfield doesn't get goals. The defenders don't really get. So trying to win games of football without any goals is impossible, as Michael Owen once told you. So I think, you know, they've got to not only bring in reinforcements, they've got to try to bring in goals in the next, whatever it is, 8 days' time, 7 days' time. Is it 8? 8 days' time. Yeah. They've got to get them in, because for all the other stuff that's looking better, and for the structure that looks better, and some of the football that looks better, without something to put it in at the other end, it means very, very little. Because there'll be other teams who don't play the same way as Everton, or who are more open than Everton, but have lads at the top end of the pitch and put the ball in the net, will get better results. We've seen it already when you look at the league table. Teams near the top, I would say, aren't as good as Everton, but they're up there because they've got goals in the team. We ain't got them. And so we have to correct that very, very quickly. If we do that, then I think we'll be fine. But at the moment, they're not in the club.
Yeah, big week for the club. But one player certainly who has started the season really well is Iwobi, isn't he? He's I thought last night he was head and shoulders the best player, and also someone who, when you look at, you know, he looked very calm. He looked someone that in a game like that where they're trying to snap us left, right, and centre. Someone that you could give the ball, know that he'll keep the ball and then move it on. And he was like that all game, wasn't he? He was a very calm and presence, where sometimes, it's weird when you watch these games sometimes how easy people seem to give the ball away to like lesser players. But there was none of that from him last night. I thought he had a really good game again.
Yeah, he's been Everton's player of the season, hasn't he, already?
Yeah.
You know, so far, 4 games in, he's been outstanding in a role that many people, I remember people were wincing the few days before Chelsea, when I said it'll be Iwobi and Decore, people were like, they can't play there, and yet Iwobi's been excellent. And he was brilliant last night. He's brilliant last night, and he is that. You do need that calm head. There's confidence, isn't he? There's confidence. He's working hard. He's putting tackles in. They left a couple of ones in him on him last night. Booted them off the ball as well, and the referee left alone, which I found was berserk. But he's done really well, and I guess an example to people to keep working hard, and you can turn things around.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll carry on, and he's playing that well now that I think when Everton fans are picking the team, he's always going to be in there at the moment. Absolutely. Because he's doing really good.
Let's have a little look at his numbers from last night. So touches 77, assists 1, pass accuracy 85%, 3 out of 4 successful dribbles, and 7 out of 9 duels won as well. So really, really good numbers, and he definitely took it upon himself, hasn't he, to be that focal point, and obviously Frank Lampard has obviously made him that focal point of the team as well. Works really, really hard, and I think, with the right personnel around them as well, I think there's more to come. You'd like to see him a little bit more in the final third, maybe taking a few shots on, and adding to that side of his game as well, and just because I think he's got that. No one's ever doubted that there is talent in there, and in fact that was probably the most frustrating thing about Iwobi was there was talent in there, but it was unlocking that talent. And Frank Lampard, obviously with last season, putting him in a position where he had to work hard, and it's rewarded him now with playing him in a position where he wants to play, and has proved he can play in it. I think it's, as I said, it's about putting players around him and someone ahead of him. And then I think there's a little bit more to come from him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he should have scored last night as well in the first half. He blazed one over from the angle. He should have hit the target at least. But they're the positions you want to see him get in. I think in a midfield 3, if you had someone who'd sit, I think you could have quite a good 3 there. If you had Onana, imagine if Ghana would have came in, and you had him and Onana ahead of them.
Which Ghana?
Idrissa. James Garner obviously is he's a different type of player, but if you had someone in there as well, and the 3 of them were busy and at it, I think that'd be really good as well. But he's done brilliantly, but you want to see him breaking into the box, because he has got ability, and you think he should really be scoring 5 or 6 goals if he's playing the majority of the season, really, in my opinion. So no, he's been good. He's been really good, and it's good to see him continuing his form.
Yeah, and obviously we're talking about midfielders, and Onana, as we said, Onana first start after a couple of strange cameos, let's say. I think he needed that 90 minutes. He got an introduction to English football in a different manner, and I think again there's a talented lad in there. It's about him understanding how fast the game is in this country, and how you don't have time. If you want time, you have to create time with your first touch a lot of the time. Sorry, I just said time so many times there.
Carried on with another 2 times.
Carried on saying it a few times. But he done well. He done well in pockets last night, didn't he? You can see. You mentioned before the passing, the little run later on where no one could get near him, and how many times he was brought down, and he sort of just went through it all with a smile on his face, and I think he had a header actually cleared off the line as well, off a corner. So you can see there's a lot of raw talent and potential there.
Yeah, it reminds me of. It does remind me of when Fellaini.
Naturally, it does, doesn't it?
Because he was big and awkward at times, and it took him a few games to really get into what he was doing. But once he settled down, he was obviously a huge player for Everton. And this kid's, I think, a bit more talented as a footballer than what Fellaini was. But it'll take him a little bit of time, but it'll done him the world of good. That, and there's only one naughty tackle on him on his ankle, which was a poor challenge. The lad was lucky not to be given the red card for it, really. I think in the Premier they got a red for it. But even if it was missed, I don't know whether there was any maliciousness in it, but it was a late challenge. But, the other stuff was welcome to England stuff, just nothing like overly aggressive, but
Yeah.
they were hitting him and letting him know he was there, and you grow up quickly, and you know, he was sporting a new hairstyle, wasn't he? The dreads had gone.
Yeah, it does feel though. It does feel like we're going to have to play 3 midfield.
Till he's fully bedded in, you would think so. I mean, he obviously he plays all over the place, doesn't he? Played in a 6, he's an 8, he's a 10 at times. The discipline of him and Iwobi, particularly away from Goodison, will be the one that everyone will be looking at, like at Brentford and stuff. So I've said before, if he wants to keep 3 at the back, I'd play 3-5-2. I'd have whoever's up front and he, you know, if it was Rondon again at the weekend, I would have Gray just off him. Have Gray buzzing around, have Rondon as the focal point, and then have 3 midfielders and allow Iwobi and Onana to push on. It means you can put your 2 wing backs higher as well. Because I think just right now we're a little bit caught between styles. I think.
Yeah, and not having the people at the other end of the pitch to do the damage. But let's just have a little look at Onana's numbers. So 69 touches, 89% accuracy, pass accuracy, long balls, 6 out of 7, 2 dribbles completed, and duels won, 14 out of 15. So again, you know, mightn't necessarily look like it, but it was a strong game from him. You know,
the most foul player on the pitch as well. That's a stat as well.
There you go.
Booted all
So yeah, it was a good introduction to the you know, to the world of English football, and as you're saying there, I think for both and clearly that's what we were going for last night, because obviously there was going to be the 3 of them in midfield last night. Tom Davis was going to be the anchor, and then 2 were going to go. So he was obviously looking at that, and you know, so there will be a change. It just would have been interesting, wouldn't it, to see how that would have worked. Would McNeil have played off Rondon?
I think that would have been the idea, wouldn't it? Because unless he was going with Iwobi one side and McNeil the other, maybe. But I'd have liked to think that he was playing McNeil off Rondon, and in almost like a 10, trying to link up.
I suppose.
Or a diamond even.
Yeah. Again, you know, later on in the game, he's made the subs, hasn't he? He's brought Lewis Warrington, and he effectively then he did sort of go to that, didn't he, and bring him in deep. I know he's not. Him and Tom Davis are obviously different players. Tom's become a bit more of a whole sitter, and but Lewis Warrington likes getting on the ball, and we've seen a little bit of his potential last night when he came on.
Yeah, I thought he was very good when he come on. It was, you know, good Evertonian, getting on the ball, always wants the ball. You know, looking for passes, competes well. At the start of his journey, you know, I think more games, more experience, but confidence, you know, to come on and sit in the middle of Everton's midfield and get on the ball as well as he did and look for passes. That's all you can do, and you know, go up try and win headers. He's not the tallest of lads, but he was competitive. He's got the mobility, can get around the pitch. So good luck to him. I thought he'd done really well.
Yeah, and it was good to see, obviously, Stanley Mills came on as well. Little less of a cameo, and obviously you mentioned before, Reece Welsh. Good to see him starting the game, because that's been something, hasn't it? That's been missing, I think, in the last few years. As you said before, we've had such a bloated squad that you're playing lots of senior players, and we haven't seen the emergence. And this might have been the reason why, again, to developments and career paths, we haven't seen much of any kind of youth prospects coming through and playing in these games.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to go back to Marco Silva when he played Kieran Dowell and I think Adam Ola-Luckman in a game when we ended up getting beat, I think, in that game. We don't tend to play a lot of young players in these games, so, and it was good to see them last night.
Yeah, it was, and you know, Welsh was an interesting one, because obviously he's just come straight in at 18 at centre back, which is, I mean, brilliant to see. And it was a good opportunity to leave Conor Cody out, and obviously he wanted the rest. So give Tarkowski a bit of a breather, you know, and he put him on second half, didn't he? But it was a good hour or so that Welsh played. And like I said, he done some good stuff and some not so good stuff, but that's what you're getting from a young player. And we were on a different show, you were talking about that you could see sometimes when he was in the box that going through the gears in his head of like, I you know, it's a real game. This I can't dangle a foot out. Like maybe take chances in the 21s and nick it off people. He was a little bit more hesitant to do it. That all comes with experience, playing games. So, you know, he's played in the defence. That's kept the clean sheet at his full debut. So for him, he's had a great night, and for the other two boys as well. You know, obviously Stanley Mills come on and worked hard and really get to see what he can do. But he's still been given his first team debut, and so's Lewis Warrington. So really good for that to happen. And again, just adds to the fact we won the game. Really.
Well, they can both play in the Masters League now, so
there you go.
So
We should have had someone who was 16 on the bench just to take the record as well off Terry Small.
One thing now is, like, obviously, Tom Cannon just signed the new contract, and we spoke about it in the preview, but would it not just made sense to just have him on the bench and just give him the last 5 minutes for Rondon?
Yeah, it was a weird one, that, because I think we had two goalkeepers on the bench, so it was a strange one. Why he wasn't in the squad, especially because he scored 4 goals, hasn't he, in his first 2 games, I think, in the 21s. Signed a new contract. And we have got no strikers. We've got Rondon. So I was a little bit surprised when I looked at the subs and he wasn't on the bench. I thought he might have gone, you know, might have had him there, but maybe the manager doesn't think he's...
Yeah, which is fair enough. I just thought it was weird because we had, obviously, other youth prospects, and I just thought he might have took him just part of the squad, and and an opportunity would have arose for him to be on the bench. You know, so I mean, there is talk he's gonna possibility going to Derby on loan, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly in some of the striking situation, and you know, there's a young one there, and as I say, I don't know whether he'll ever make it at Everton, but there could have been an opportunity from last night just to get 5 minutes and just have a little look at him, but. There you go. It's one of those things, isn't it? But we're through to the next round. Yeah.
Draw tonight, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah.
Tonight. Yeah. Wednesday.
Nice little cushy home.
Yeah, home side this time.
Home side, please, if you don't mind. Someone rubbish. Can't be bothered with one of those away trips where it's all just
Crawley at home, even though they just knock Fulham.
Yeah, that'll do. Crawley at home. Big night for them, and yeah, it'll be good. Let's have a look at the stats before we finish. There you go. They actually had more shots on target, which is slightly worrying.
Well, that was they had it was twice on the run, wasn't it? They had 2 shots quickly, but 10 shots, 15 for Everton, 4 for them on target, 2 for Everton. 1 big chance for the Blues, which was obviously the goal. 57% possession, unlike Everton. 528 passes, so we won the game. Through, got a clean sheet. Some debuts for young lads.
Yeah, there you go.
All is rosy. Yeah. 8 days to go and counting to get strikers in.
Please. There you go. Right, we're going to carry this on over on Toffee TV Premier. We'll be answering your questions. If you want to join us, click the link in the description or the QR code on the screen. There you go. See you later.